Every business wants good customer reviews. Every customer wants a good experience. So what happens when both sides click? Or in some cases, when they don't? From Yelp and Entrepreneur Media, this is Behind the Review.
Behind the review, dig deep into behind the review, get all the news, food, flowers, fixing, make business boom. Behind the review, dig deep into.
I'm Emily Washkovic, Yelp's small business expert. Behind the Review features conversations with business owners and customers who wrote one of their Yelp reviews. In our discussions, we talk about lessons they've learned that could be used by other businesses to improve their own reviews and their bottom line. This week, I'm speaking with Robert Perry, owner of Tattooed Mom, a restaurant and cocktail bar in Philadelphia with a sandwich and snack menu that caters to vegans and omnivores alike. We'll also hear from elite reviewer Albert S., who lives in New Jersey but visits Philadelphia often and makes a point of heading to TMOMs, as the locals call it, when he's in town.
The first time I came across Tattooed Mom, I obviously use Yelp a lot to look up reviews to see what's good out there. I didn't hear much about the food. I just went there for having drinks with friends and then go to a concert after that. That's how I first found out about them. And then this recent visit, what happened was my grandson and his girlfriend, she shares a diet plan like I am. I'm a pescatarian, and she is also, and we eat a lot of vegan food. I recall they serve very good vegan food there. And I looked it up, and I recalled that they have a great deal on Wednesdays with a burger night, the smash burgers. And so I convinced my grandson and his girlfriend to come out and visit Tattooed Mom. And that's how we got back there again for a second time. But I've been there years ago, I think before COVID. So COVID kind of slowed things down for me as far as visits to Philly. We used to go there all the time. I am from South Jersey, so I still get to go to Philly quite often, as much as I can.
I really love that our Yelp reviewers don't just review in their hometowns, but everywhere they go. And in the case of a place like Tattooed Mom, Al liked it so much, he wanted to go again. And on his next visit, bring family along with him.
So I've been to Tattooed Moms a number of times, but mostly upstairs. The vibe up there is great, with stickers on everything and every wall. We asked if that was done intentionally, but we're told that it was more organic, and the walls used to be beige. For the last visit, we ate downstairs. The place is decorated nicely with some really cool eclectic pieces on the walls. Our server was great throughout our dinner and helped out with my wife's allergy. As far as the drinks, most of us went with a beer and a White Claw. The draft selection is small, but had a nice variety on tap. I chose the PBR since it was on the Wednesday special. They also have cocktails and a variety of bottled options. For the food, the main reason for coming was that I told my grandson and his girlfriend that they have really good vegan food. We came on a Wednesday to get their smash burger special. Before getting our smash burger, we got the vegan barbecue wings. They were really good and crunchy with a nice heat. 2 of our party got the vegan smash burgers and 2 got the classic. Everyone really enjoyed their burgers. Highly recommend them. Overall, a great time, and we enjoyed playing with the plastic toys they leave on the table for customers to enjoy.
A good restaurant review isn't just about the food. It gives other Yelpers a full picture of the experience. And after that review, I have a great picture of the kind of experience I'd have at Tattooed Mom. I asked Robert Perry, the owner of TMOMs, to elaborate on their unique design choices for the restaurant and cocktail bar.
My name is Robert Perry, and I'm one of the founders of Tattooed Mom on South Street in Philadelphia. And we just celebrated our 27th anniversary. So happy birthday to us. We've been in the South Street neighborhood for almost 3 decades. Physically, the space is, if you're walking on street level, you're going to see really vibrant sort of circus sideshow panel murals on the storefront itself with a illuminated sign as well. And then there's a first floor bar and dining room, and that sort of has its own sort of specific vibe to it. It's very bright and colorful and airy, filled with some little spotlighted artwork, including a very special, like little alcove nook section that has a really beautiful all over artwork piece. And then on the second floor, it's a little bit more what like to call beautiful chaos, which is floor to ceiling stickers and wheat pastes and spray paint and stencils and installations, all community sourced and community based. It's really an uncurated art space. On that second floor, we have a front room that has loungy areas and a pool table, and then a middle room, which has another bar, and then a back room, which has some fun ride cars. And it's also sort of an event space for us where we do a lot of our community based events.
A great small business usually starts by filling in a gap in the community, creating a space where there was something missing, whether that's food or a product or just a place to hang out. That's exactly what Robert and his original business partner set out to do.
It was me and one additional founding partner. Now it's just me solo, but we both lived in the neighborhood and saw a need for a community-based space that was for sort of for our tribe of people, for artists and skateboarders and musicians and street artists and a little bit of everybody to come together and find community and at the same time enjoy some really delicious food and drink and experience South Street in the way, South Street's a very unique neighborhood, and experiencing that in a way that we loved and wanted to share with the world.
Longevity is one of the end games for most small business owners. You build a business with the hope that it will be around for a long time. That requires a delicate balance between embracing the new and staying true to your core purpose. In the case of a restaurant, changing menus can upset some of your regular patrons. But Robert's worked to make that change an integral part of the fabric of Tattooed Mom.
Yes, it's absolutely been an evolution. If you've been around for 27 years, you're going to hopefully evolve. I think that you need to. My whole point of view, and this comes in terms of the menu, but it also crosses all boundaries of what we do there, is that we have a real heart of what we do, and our identity and who we are is we're very comfortable with it, and we're very proud of it. And we base all of those decisions on what our heart is. Organically, we've evolved over the years as we've evolved as humans and as our staff and family have evolved. So the vegan element, the vegetarian element has always been there because there's always been people in our community that are interested in eating that kind of food, and including our staff members. And so a lot of it started with that and then sort of just grew from there. As time went on and more options were available, we'd have, let's say, for instance, a Philly cheesesteak is a great example because that's an iconic Philly dish. People love it, and it's very closely associated with the city that we live in. So some of the staff members were like, I want to eat this too, but I don't eat meat or whatever. So through trial and error and experimentation, they came up with their own version of it that was plant based. And maybe at first it was just for themselves or just as a staff meal or just to try. And as that grew, and we're like, this is actually really good, we just wanted to share it with our larger community. And so that's happened a lot over time. It's sort of developed to the point where I think that we're positioned uniquely in that we have a interesting mirrored menu almost where anything that's available for maybe an omnivore is also available for a plant-based or a plant-based interested person. And so you can bring everybody with you. You bring your mom, your dad, your grandpa, your friends, and hopefully there's something for everybody on the menu, whether you eat plant-based or don't, that you can actually try the same sandwich and see which one is more interesting to you. But we've also done fun things with press and people in the past where, for instance, one of our best-selling sandwiches is a pickle fried chicken sandwich, which is brined in pickle juice. It has fried pickles on it. It's really delicious. And we gave a member of the local press the omnivore version and the plant-based version and had them try both and asked them to choose which was which. And they thought that the plant-based one was real chicken. So that's, I think, a good indication of like how dialed in we try to be about creating plant-based versions of maybe omnivore versions of things that people that are out there.
I've spoken with many businesses that have different dietary options. And it seems that while they're attracting customers who are specifically looking for vegan food or vegetarian food, they can also, if they do it right, bring in customers who weren't looking for anything other than a great meal and are willing to step outside their food comfort zone.
We love having people try plant-based versions of iconic sandwiches and other dishes that we've created. And one of the ways we did that was partnering, I guess, wow, this has been a while back, maybe almost 10 years ago, with a national group called Meatless Monday, who do advocacy for having people try plant-based foods one day a week, whether it be on school lunches or at restaurants or at home. And we love the idea of that. So we've had a long-standing Meatless Monday special every week, where all of our plant-based sandwiches are discounted on Mondays at a really nice price. And so that gives a really fun opportunity for someone who's maybe curious about plant-based lifestyle, or just is eating on a budget that week or whatever, or happens to be there that day and sees that there's a cool deal going on. It's a really nice entry for them to be able to try a plant-based item with very little risk and see what they think of it, and see how it compares to things that they might have experienced in the omnivore world. And I think that's been a really fun way of introducing plant-based items to people who are curious or maybe don't even have an interest in it, but just enjoy trying new things or eating good food.
For some, dietary restrictions aren't just a lifestyle choice, they're a life or death situation. Posting your restaurant menu online and on Yelp can help customers decide what's safe to eat before they arrive. Anyone with a serious food allergy will always check with the server as well. But the online menu is a great place for them to start.
When I'm looking around, I do check, like, they have the attributes of the restaurant in the Yelp review. So for me, I've got to look at the menu. I need to dissect it, and I do that quite often. Main reason for that, not necessarily my dietary restriction, but my wife is allergic to corn. And it's extremely hard to find products that don't have corn. That includes like dextrose, high fructose corn syrup. So anytime they use ketchup, she can't have that. So a lot of sauces are made with that. And I must say, that's where Tattooed Moms really came in handy as far as the service. So my wife, like I said, with the corn allergy, they went back and checked, took the time to do that, and said she can't have this, she can't have that. And so they were very accommodating. So
Sometimes all the server needs to do to provide exceptional customer service is confirm with the kitchen if a dietary restriction won't be a problem on a certain dish. It's that human element that really makes the difference and elevates the customer's experience. We're going to take a quick break. Be right back.
Do you have a business problem? Well, I know people who have the answer. Hi, I'm Jason Pfeiffer, editor-in-chief of Entrepreneur Magazine and host of the entrepreneur podcast, Problem Solvers. Each week on Problem Solvers, I talk to an entrepreneur about how they solved a problem in their business, like fixing their funding or marketing or product or whatever, or I talk to an expert about how to solve the most common vexing problems that you are probably facing, from leadership to lack of confidence. Our conversations are straight to the point because you don't have time for endless blah, 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 and tell me how you got started. No, you're busy. You have work to do, and Problem Solvers is here to help you solve problems. Find Problem Solvers wherever you get your podcasts.
I strongly believe in the power of a public review response for both positive and critical reviews. But I don't think a review response is the place to get into a back and forth argument with a customer. As a business owner, you want to take the high road and respond professionally. Think of your response as a reflection of your customer service practices to all future customers. Coming back at a critical review with a defensive and angry response won't do your business any favors. However, when it comes to social media, there might be a little more leeway. If and only if your brand has firmly established itself as a slightly offbeat or quirky one, and customers have come to expect that from you. But remember, you're also speaking to potential customers who might not be in on the joke yet.
I think that reviews and social media are very different kind of worlds that you exist in as a business, and navigating them is also very different. I think that in the social media sphere, you have some degree, although it's sometimes questionable, of quote unquote control over the content that you're sharing with your community and making those decisions of what to share and how to share it and how that reflects your core values and your identity as a place that people come to is something that you can be very thoughtful about and very considerate about. I mean, we're lucky that we're sort of an irreverent brand where we can almost quote unquote get away with some things in terms of just being very honest about things and being goofy and being silly and ridiculous sometimes. And it's fun to explore those facets of our identity in the social media space. But we also and sometimes seriously use it as a way of advocacy and activism, and that's really important to us too. And as ways for community support and community education about people that are out there doing the work in the community and helping others. So it's a great platform for that. And because we're such a creative space, we also love using our social media platforms to highlight the work of artists from all over the world. Because artists visit us from all over the world, and we love sharing their work with our community at large and putting a spotlight on both the amazingly vibrant Philly local creative community and the international community that supports and visits us as well. In the online review space, I think it's a very different situation. You basically have no control over what people say about you or write about you. And that's fine. It serves a purpose of being completely community driven in terms of people sharing their experiences there. But we strive every day to give people who visit us, whether it be for their first time or for their 100th time, a really special, unique, and enjoyable experience, a fun experience at Tattooed Mom. Everything from the people that work there and how they care about the service that they give and the experience that they're giving people that come through the door, but also just little touches like little toys to play with and free dum-dums and free community-based events and really fun, engaging cocktail program. Like all these varieties of kinds of food that you can try, all these things we hope will create a guest experience that is really unique, enjoyable, and memorable. Knowing that sometimes we're human and we are going to fail on one or all of those fronts with some people sometimes. And that's just the nature of human action. We're a very unique and special place. That being said, we're not for everybody. Like, it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea because we all have our preferences when we go out and we all gravitate towards certain kinds of dining or drinking or event kinds of experiences. So we may not be your cup of tea. And at the same time, we may fail in doing some of those things that we've set out to do. And it's not something I ever want us to do, but I know that we will stumble of it from time to time. So we get a great review. It's just a joy. And I love sharing them with our staff, especially if they're sort of like mentioned in some way that sort of identifies them or calls them out by name in a really positive way. I love sharing those with them and just letting them know, like, you made a difference to this person today and their experience here. And that's really fun. On the other end of the spectrum, when we get a really negative review or someone has a very not satisfactory experience here, it really pains me. Really, I feel it personally, not in the sense that I take it personally, but in the sense that I really care. And I really care about every comment, every review, every message, every suggestion. I read those personally and take them to heart. And I may not always agree with the feedback, but I always try my best to make sure that the person feels heard and seen and acknowledged and know that I am always interested to hear what they have to say. I will take it to heart and I will do my best to correct what I see. If we've messed up somewhere, I'll correct what I can to make sure that they don't have that, or no one has that experience again when they come here. So that's how I look at both ends of it.
I like how Robert phrased it. People just want to be heard, and acknowledging that and listening virtually might be all it takes to get them to give you another chance. Thoughtful responses to negative reviews can also reflect positively on potential customers who are checking reviews before they visit your business. Those people on the fence, the maybes, can be swayed if your response is measured and respectful, and you've shown that you listen to criticism in a productive way. Service is one of those key factors in restaurant reviews. And for some people, it's more important than the quality of the food. You might be willing to overlook the less than perfect meal if the service is delightful. Good service can be taught, but some of it comes from experience and a genuine love of the product. It always comes from a good culture, and that starts at the top.
Well, we're very lucky in the fact that we have some team members that have been with us since day one, which is almost unheard of in the business that we're in. There's a few people who have been here since we opened the doors. There are several other people who have been here a decade or longer, which again is very, very rare in the type of business that we have. I hope that it speaks to the culture that we've created there and to the environment that we've created, not just for our guests, but also for our staff that is serving them and creating the experiences that they're having. I hope that the best way to do that is to create a culture that is an enjoyable place to work and a place that acknowledges your service in some way. And I think that we do a lot to try to break out of some of the toxic elements that are prevalent and historically prevalent in our business. During COVID, we had an opportunity to create a much more collective environment for our staff where everybody hopefully benefits equally from the experience monetarily and in other ways. So I think that steps like that hopefully provide for a good, healthy workplace environment. And we understand some of our staff, this is a supplemental way to make income as they move towards other life goals. We're thrilled to have people for as long as they're with us. But for some other people who choose to make this a longer main sources of income, or maybe their only source of income, it's also really great to work with those people over many.
It really is incredible to me that some of the folks working for Robert at Tattooed Mom have been there as long as he has. It speaks volumes about the care and culture developed by Robert. And that service they provide, thanks to the supportive atmosphere, can sometimes be more important to reviewers than the actual food, as is often the case for Al.
Usually I would cut some slack. If the food is fantastic, I would definitely come back because sometimes it could be a bad day for the server or something like that. I take that into account. For the most part, I'll cut some slack on the service. If it's extremely bad and the food's good, then I wouldn't go back necessarily. That's something they need to fix. And maybe I think that's why I do the reviews, to be honest. I'm hoping that the people that own the business will see the reviews and see the criticism and not take it to heart or thinking that it's just something really, I'm attacking them. I'd rather see them use that in constructive manner and maybe correct what's going on.
I feel a need to point out that Al is inherently positive on Yelp. Like many elites, he enjoys sharing places he loves, far more than providing critical feedback after a poor experience. And that's because he wants to lift local businesses up. A core value of Tattooed Mom is their commitment to the community. Robert regularly opens up TMOMs for all kinds of events and works hard to keep them affordable for everyone.
So we do have a couple of long-running poet writers/writers series that happen there, and a couple of those do have an open mic element for local writers or visiting writers. We have a very active event space. We book things sometimes every day, twice a day. There's something going on. There's almost always something fun and community-based going on at TMOMs, and we try to keep almost all the events as much as possible free for people. It's everything from poetry readings to comedy nights to drag performances to art shows to community-based advocacy events to fundraisers to political meetups. It runs the gamut of all kinds of community-based events, particularly centered around the creative and activist community locally. Queer community events, like we do a really wide range of community-based events. One of our greatest joys is being able to share the space and give the space freely to our community to use as they see fit, to produce these kinds of events that bring people together and allow them to gather as a community and exchange ideas and exchange creative energy together. So that's really fun.
I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs every day, and not many of them have been in business as long as Robert. There are highs and lows in any small business, no matter how long you've been operating. But with almost 3 decades in Philadelphia, I'm sure Robert's experienced them all. So I asked him for his advice for entrepreneurs who might not be sure how long they want to keep up this journey.
I have to tell you, it's not easy, and everyone has a different experience. And I think all those points that you mentioned ring true for me personally. There have absolutely been highs and lows. There's been times where I've just felt very lonely and very unsure and very tentative. But I am so grateful and so fortunate to really have the support system that I do have from my staff, who has been, like I said, many have been there, decades, who, particularly during the pandemic, were really, really just so solidly there and were so solidly behind me and wanting to make sure that we weathered that storm and got through that storm safely. And not only safely, but also like we came out of it the other end, surviving. From day one, they were there. And the complement to that is the community that surrounds us and the community support that we have. Long time support, people who have said, I was there the day you opened, or people who've had really special experiences with meeting their partners there, or raising their children there. We've been around so long where people who had kids when we first started, their kids are now sitting on the other end of the bar, 25 years old or whatever. So it's great. So the support of our community has been huge. And I think that those two elements have given me more than I could ever expect in this world to keep going and to get through whatever we needed to get through, and to really appreciate and enjoy and be grateful for the good times, and to know that the tougher times are one good thing about doing it for a long time is this is tough, but I got through this and I got through that. We'll get through this too, whatever it is. So those two things I'm eternally grateful for and have really helped me personally navigate this time.
And that concludes our episode. I hope you enjoyed it and were able to take a thing or two away to implement in your own life. Whether it's a new idea that you can bring back to your business or a fresh perspective on how to be a positive influence as a consumer, we share these stories to inspire and create more meaningful connections in your local community.
Behind the review, dig deeper too. Behind the review, get all the news. Food, flowers, fixing, make business boom. Behind the review, dig deeper too.
This episode featured a conversation with Robert Perry, the founder of Tattooed Mom, and Albert S., a Yelp elite living in New Jersey. Special thanks to Holly Hanchy, who helped write this episode. To learn more about the story, head to yelp.com/behind the review and check out the guest details and episode takeaways. And don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite listening platform so you get an alert each Thursday that we drop a new episode. To claim your own Yelp business page and start engaging with consumers, visit business.yelp.com. Our theme song is performed by Allie Schwartz, and produced by Robbie G of Messerol Sound.